Hey, it's Rav. You're watching The Everyday Investor, the hottest real estate investment show in the world. That's right, I said it. I don't care who knows it. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting concept that's been around for decades, maybe centuries, I don't know. It's simply investing in rent-to-owns. Maybe you've heard it, investing in lease-to-owns. And it's a very interesting concept. I've invested over the years in this space, this vehicle. But I have my good friend Erwin Szeto on the show, and he's going to be talking about how to do that. He's an investor that's invested in land development, his own properties, rent-to-owns as well. Make sure you got your pen and paper out. We're going to go through some numbers. He's brought a couple of friends of his that he's taught how to do this as well. We're going to run the numbers because we always want to ask those 4 questions whenever we're presented with any type of investment opportunity. The first question you always want to ask, whether it's real estate related or not, is what is the return on my investment? If I put $1 out there, hopefully I'll get that $1 back, but how much more on top of that $1? What's the return on my investment? Number 2, when do I get it? When do I get that back? If somebody says, you know, it's 20% over 5 years, then really it's only 4% annualized. So it's very, very important that you find out when do you get that return. Thirdly, what is the investment amount? How much is needed out of my pocket to be able to invest, to be able to enjoy this return? And fourthly, you want to make sure you always ask this question, look them right in the eye, and say, what is the risk? What is the worst case scenario? Again, my friend Erwin's on the show. Erwin, thanks for being on the show again. We think we had you last year, and we only bring the best back, so I'm not sure why you're here. No, just kidding. No, it's fantastic having you. You know, I know you love where you live. The show broadcasts all across Ontario. You're in Steeltown. You're there in Hamilton. If people want to read up about on you, you've got the domain name MrHamilton.ca, but
Correct.
Mr is not the full Mr, it's just MR.
Correct.
So MRHamilton.ca. You've been investing for a long time, as young as you look, married, a couple of kids, all that kind of good stuff. And you're enjoying yourself doing that. And I want to obviously talk a lot about the investments that you're doing, and talk to the everyday people at home and the everyday guests that we bring, myself being an everyday person, as well as your own. But right now you're the expert. Let's put that aside for a second, and let's talk about why you do this. I know you always talk to me about your wife, your children, being charitable. That really is the most gratifying work. Talk to me a little bit about that kind of spiritual, benevolent concept.
So a couple of years ago, we were delivering care packages started in actually Brampton.
Yeah.
We delivered to about 3-4 families in need around Thanksgiving, a turkey and groceries for a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
And then we thought, hey, let's bring this to Hamilton. I don't have to drive as much.
Yeah.
And we're trying to give back to the community that's provided so much to us. So Christmas 2 years ago, we started off saying we'll do 6 families,
Yeah.
but we won't say no to anyone. Immediately, my buddy Roger went out and asked, and he came back and said, we got 16 families.
16.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we quickly got more help. It ballooned to 36 families that first Christmas. And then we just kept on going since then. We raised money to do it. We've done it now. We did it last year as well.
Yeah.
So that first Christmas, that very first time we fed 36. Last year we fed 425 families across the 3 holidays.
425 families.
Yeah, and we had to raise about $36,000 to do so,
Wow.
including donations from my wife and I as well.
Yeah.
And this past Easter weekend, we fed 120 families.
Wow, I think
all in
that is
Hamilton.
absolutely fantastic. And as much, as well as, you do with investments and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure this surpasses that in terms of gratification, the reward that,
Yeah.
that's just, it really is better to give than to receive, says the good book. And
Yeah.
I'm really inspired that that you do that. And I think it's very important.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then some people would ask, okay, so you've got a couple kids. You obviously have RESPs, but you don't have RESPs for your children.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about that, what you've just done for your oldest.
Yes, we don't have any registered savings for our kids. My daughter, we bought her a house when she was 3 months old.
3 months old.
Yeah,
So what do you mean by you bought her a house? She doesn't live there by herself.
No, she doesn't.
Yes.
She was 3 months old at the time.
Yes.
I bought an investment property that we've earmarked for her purposes.
Yeah.
To pay for, if she wants to go backpack in Europe, if she wants to go to university, if she wants to do beyond that, master's, PhD.
Yeah.
I believe the expected cost for someone her age for tuition alone is going to be like about $130,000
by the time
for 4 years. Yeah, by the time she's old enough to go to university.
Wow, for 4 years.
4 years, yeah, just tuition alone.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to take any time away from my own retirement.
Yeah.
Or come out of pocket for that.
No, I think that's fantastic that you're doing that and you're thinking that way, as well as she may not want to backpack or she may not want to go to university, but now you have your daughter and your son-in-law, future son-in-law, living close by. So I think you're very smart doing that. Well, you are a savvy investor. You invest in all different types of investment vehicles. Today we're going to talk about this simple concept, investing in rent to own. So when we come back from the break, let's go through that. Thank you for inspiring me with the things outside of money, because money can only help so much. There's bigger things there, so I thank you for that. We're talking to my friend Erwin Szeto. We're going to be talking about how we can make money investing in rent-to-owns, investing in lease-to-owns. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a great show. Get your paper, your pencil, your pen out, and stay tuned. The Everyday Investor continues in just a moment. Thanks for watching. Whenever you're considering to invest in real estate, always ask those 4 questions whenever you're going to start. What is the return on my investment? Number 2, when do I get that return? Number 3, what is the minimum cash amount needed? And number 4, what's the risk, the worst case scenario? Hey, it's Rav. You're watching The Everyday Investor. We're talking to my good friend Erwin Szeto on how we can make money investing in rent-to-owns. But before we do that, we go to my favorite money lender, the one that helps us to invest in private mortgages, syndicate mortgages, be able to borrow money, and that's Carmen Caponero. Hello, Carmen.
Hi, how are you?
Good. The queen of ProFunds Mortgages. It's great to have you and to speak to you. Actually, just last week, we had the VP, Jordan, who is a wonderful relative of yours, as well as Andrew Hines, a representative of ProFunds as well. They were on the show. And so we had a lot of fun talking about investing in mortgages, helping people to invest in private mortgages, group mortgages, all that kind of stuff. Today we're talking about just the conventional buy and rent out. It's a little bit of a twist on it. We're helping, renters become homeowners. But what's happening just in the conventional world of mortgages and with rates, and there's so much talk about it. They've been at historic lows, and the world's going to end because they're going to go up. And should you do variable? Should you go fixed? Just enlighten us, Carmen, for a minute or so on that.
Yeah, and for clarity, people can understand that we're not just the private lending company. We actually facilitate residential mortgages.
Yes.
So, and the rates are very competitive right now. You're right. I mean, right now we're probably able to secure a first mortgage with a bank at about 2.5%.
Oh, really?
And that's a 5-year fix.
That's
so
great.
It's amazing rate.
Yeah.
Prime minus 0.25. So the variable rates are not as competitive as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So they're offering 0.25 or 0.35 below prime.
Yep.
And the fixed rates are coming down. So that's great. Now, I will mention also for investors, there's a new program out where institutionally they would only allow for up to 5 rental properties, where now they're able to have up to 10 rental properties. So they're opening the door to investors, which is great.
Is that right? So, and are they looking at the individual, or are they looking at the actual property?
Well, it would be the individual. You have to qualify, but they will allow for you to allocate your rental income to assist in the debt service. So your TDS is applicable, but your rental income can be added to it. So the programs, they're opening the doors.
Okay, great.
Great.
So, Carmen, we want more information on whether I'm just purchasing a property to move in, whether it's an investment property, whether I want to borrow money, whether I want to invest in mortgages. We can simply just go to profunds.ca and get our questions answered.
Absolutely. Yeah, or they can email invest@profunds.ca.
Invest@profunds.ca.
Yep, invest@profunds.ca, and anybody will get back to them in a very timely manner.
Okay, Carmen, it's always great to hear your sweet voice.
Okay, have a great day.
Okay, thanks, Carmen.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Erwin? I mean, it's what would you do today? So you're going to pick up a property. I want some advice from you. Am I going 5-year fixed? Am I still staying with a variable? What would you do?
I'd go variable. Because the way the market's been going,
Yeah.
it used to be like around 5-year point, we'd have enough money built up in the house that we could refinance it.
Yeah.
The way the market's been going, it's been closer to 3 years.
Okay.
So I say either go for a 3-year term or just get a variable.
Got it.
That way the penalty's small should
Okay.
you decide to break it and refinance, pull money out.
Okay.
To do whatever.
So you're saying that year over year, because of demand, because of many people moving into this country, because of a lot of people from the country moving into the GTA area, including Hamilton, you would say that that demand is there, that increases are happening, a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do a 3-year fix perhaps, or go variable, and in the end you'll kind of win that way.
Right.
I mean, it's always been that variable. It's just right now a lot of people are kind of saying, is this it now? Should we lock in for a 5-year? Some people even talking 10 years, believe it or not. But the penalties, I mean, life happens, life changes all the time. If you break that and you're fixed, that can be astronomical.
Yeah, very expensive.
Yeah.
And in the case with rent to own, you don't know when they're going to buy 2 or 3 year.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have the flexibility of a variable.
Yeah, very good. Good segue too. We're talking about rent to owns. So talk about just make it really. I barely finished high school. Make it high school friendly for me. Generally, real estate investing, people think buy a property, rent it out, and make some cash flow from it, and it'll increase over time. Mm-hmm. What is a rent to own? How does it work? And why do you enjoy, and have you enjoyed, I know that you have, why have you been able to enjoy some great returns with these? And it's a win-win
Yes.
a lot of the times as well. Talk a little bit, explain it.
Yes, you said it exactly there. It's a win-win. For you, the investor, you're able to charge a slightly higher than market rent.
Okay.
So your cash flow better.
Yeah.
And your tenants, because the intention is they're going to buy the property.
So what that means is if generally you're about to buy a property and we were going to rent it for $1,750 a month, you would charge $2,000 a month.
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, it can range from $1,850 to $2,000.
Yeah, no, just giving some numbers.
Yes.
When you say, okay, and then?
And then part of that rent goes back to them in form of a credit when they purchase the property from you.
Oh, I see. So it's really, we're not dinging them, we're just helping them create a savings account for their purchase price.
Yes.
Got
so
it.
actually the net amount after the credit
Yeah.
is always smaller than the market rent.
Got it.
Right? So it's a forced savings program.
Yeah.
They're going to be paying rent anyways, so they might as well keep a portion of it
Yeah.
towards purchasing the home.
Yeah.
And because they are purchasing the home,
Yeah.
they take much better care of the property. We've had tenants do things like install new walkways, put in new hardwood floors, change whole kitchens. Someone put in a gazebo. They invest in the property because they treat it like their own.
Because that's why we're doing this. They're going to purchase this property. It is their own property.
Yes.
So what I heard you saying is, we'll just use those numbers. Let's say it's normally $1,800 a month. You're going to charge $2,000 a month, so therefore $200-$300, whatever, goes to a credit towards them. But we're just going to adjust that when it comes time for closing, so you actually get to appreciate more cash flow.
Yes.
As the investor.
Yes.
Because you're going to take that money and do whatever you want with it. Yes, we have to give that back to them, but we're not giving those actual dollars back to them. We're going to adjust that on closing.
Yes.
With the difference in terms of equity being paid down and the increase of the property going up and all those kinds of things.
Exactly. And also while the tenant's there, you likely don't need property management because they're taking good care of the property.
Yeah.
And the repairs and maintenance are much lower. Because any small repair, they take care of themselves.
They take care.
Yeah. Even in our lease, we have a deductible usually between $300 to $500.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That much?
So anything below that, they take care of.
Whereas the conventional, it's like probably $50 or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Anything. Oh,
25.
Toilet's plugged.
Yeah.
Come fix it.
Yeah. But with this, because it's their property in spirit, it's yours legally. Is that right? So so when you're going to help Rav's a tenant, Rav wants to eventually own this specific property. You go on title or I go on title? You go on title.
Yeah.
You're the investor.
The owner's still on title.
Okay.
But you have the right to purchase it.
Got it.
At defined dates.
Okay.
Usually 2 or 3 years out.
And how does title work? Is it kind of a double land transfer tax type thing? So you're buying it, so you've got to pay closing costs, land transfer tax. Then when I buy it, I have to do the same thing?
Yes.
That's all kind of built into the numbers?
Yes, but you do save on realtor fees though. So everyone saves there.
That's true. So when you sell it to me, I'm buying it minus whatever the going realtor fees are, usually about 5-6%. We don't have to build that in anymore because it's just a straight private transaction.
Correct.
Okay.
And with our clients, we help them with the paperwork.
Yeah.
Just that we're not responsible for anything, and you just take it to your lawyer.
Yeah.
Like both sides take it to the lawyer to finalize the deal.
So you shared the benefits and add more to them, and then we'll go to the homeowner to be benefits. So the benefits for the investor is, one, he has somebody that's going to take care of the property because in spirit it's theirs. Two, you get to enjoy a higher amount of cash flow because they're giving you extra money that goes towards their down payment, but we'll take that out of the equation when we close. Thirdly, like we said, there's nothing for you to do, and there is a bit of a gratifying, gratification there because you're helping somebody out,
yes.
In terms of being able to do that. For the RAV type guy who eventually gets to buy a property, what are some of the benefits there? I mean, obviously, one, I can't afford to buy right now, but I get to kind of choose right now. Like, who chooses that property, first of all? Is it Rav? Is it Erwin? Is it both of us? How does that work?
In the most cases, we actually go out and buy a nice property, or we make it nice.
Okay.
Right? So it's an ideal starter home for someone.
Yeah.
And then, and if you say you come and you see the ad, I'm interested in rent to own. This house isn't quite right for me. Say you need 4 bedrooms instead of 3.
Yeah.
Then we can take you out and go find you a house that's appropriate for you.
Okay. So a bit of both there.
Yeah, it's a bit of both.
Okay, great. And then I'm enjoying the use of this home. I bring friends over. I can, in spirit again, I call it my own home, so on and so forth. What other type benefits for the potential owner?
Yeah, I think you said it before. Like, you get to have the home, you get to live in the house that you want now.
Yeah.
Rather than having to wait for it later.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, most of these people that enter the rent to own program, they don't have the down payment, or they don't have the credit, for whatever reason, they cannot qualify for a mortgage to purchase home at this time.
Yeah.
But now they can start living in it. It's going to be theirs in 2-3 years, so they can start taking care of it, and they know they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because if you rent from me normally and you're month to month, I can say I can take out a permit and then you have to leave.
That's right.
Or me or my family.
Or you want a family member to move in, right? Yeah. I mean, those are two good things that protect a lot of tenants out there, that we can't just kick anybody out, even if you sell the house, unless there's major renovations or a family member is going to move in. But there's still those two considerations. Somebody can say, we're doing renovations, you have to go. If it's a lease to own, I don't have to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So properties do, usually 3 things. Well, 2 in this case. We're going to, it's going to naturally increase in value, just passively. It's going to go up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% a year, sometimes higher. And then also, the mortgage gets paid down. So there's that big gap there between it increasing and the mortgage being paid down. You obviously are going to enjoy a little bit of the cash flow until I close on it. But how do we determine, what I buy it for? Is there kind of a set number? I guess really what I'm saying is, how does Erwin win financially as the investor?
Yes.
How does Rav win financially as the to-be owner?
Right. So we do set the price for the exit for when the tenant purchased the home.
We do that up front.
We do that up front.
Okay, so I'm going to say to you, it's going to probably take me about 3 years to purchase this property, and so we're going to set up the purchase price now.
Correct.
Okay.
And we base that off of we look at history, and we take we look into our crystal ball. We take a guess at what it's going to be in the future.
Yeah.
5 years ago, we used to do 5 for the first year. We do 5%. The next year would be 4%. The third year would be 3%.
Yeah.
That's how much we increase the price. But the way that the market's been going, the market in the last 5 years has been going up between 6 and 10% a year.
Wow.
So we've been going at like 5.5
Yep.
for each year.
Okay.
And in many cases, almost every case where the tenant buys out, they've actually pocketed some equity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because it'll go up even higher, but we have a set amount.
Yeah.
And the reverse is true. If it goes down lower, well, then do I have an out? Can I decide after 3 years, you know what, Erwin, I don't want to buy this property?
Yes, so you as the tenant, you have the option to buy the house.
It's an option.
Yeah.
Option to own.
Yeah.
Got it.
You don't have to buy.
Okay.
But no one can take that right away from you, though.
Okay.
You have a contractual right to have the option to buy the house. no matter what I want to do.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we got a couple friends coming over. What's their names? They're coming on the show here?
We have Charles and we have Tim.
Charles and Tim are going to come on, so we're going to take a break here. We'll bring on one of these guys, and we'll actually put a marker to the paper, and we'll look at the return on investment. You don't want to go anywhere. The Everyday Investor continues in a moment. Thanks for watching, everyone. Did you know you can invest in cash flow positive rental properties without having to swing a hammer or be a slumlord using rent to own? Everyday investors use this little known strategy to rent out nice homes in nice neighborhoods to nice tenants who take care of the house as if it was their own. Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. We're talking about how to make money in rent-to-owns. My special guest host, Erwin Szeto, is talking about the concept of how it's a win-win for the investor and as well for the tenant who's going to become the homeowner. He's brought one of his friends on the show, Tim Hong's here. Tim, it's great to have you here, my friend.
Thank you, Rav.
You have done one rent-to-own, two,
three.
You've done three already.
Yeah.
And how did this friendship, I guess now we probably started as a business relationship, but how's this friendship here with Erwin working? He's been kind of tutoring you along here?
Yeah, it's been good. Been learning from him. Numbers been great, so just picking up the experience from him and then applying it.
And you live where in Ontario?
I'm in Mississauga right now.
You're in Mississauga, and we're going to look at one of your properties and how you've made some money investing in a rent-to-own, and that property is located where?
In Kitchener.
That property's in Kitchener. Okay, so that's very interesting, Erwin. You don't have to necessarily just invest in your own backyard. If you have the proper team in place, you have a realtor, you have the lawyer, the accountant, the lender, someone like ProFunds. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't, like, for example, your lawyer and your lender, they don't have to live even in the same city. I think they have to be provincially regulated, but they don't even have to live in the same city. Obviously, you probably want a local realtor, but even that, you invest a lot, but you're also a licensed realtor.
Yes.
You can sell and buy anywhere in Ontario, technically.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I think that's great, Tim, that you live in Mississauga, but you found that the numbers work best, not necessarily in Mississauga, for this particular venue, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So that didn't. Are you married? Single?
Married.
You're married?
I have a 3-year-old son.
Oh, congratulations. So that didn't put any kind of fear into yourself or your wife that, hey, we live in Mississauga, but we have an investment property that's, an hour away?
Not really. I was actually born and raised in Kitchener.
Okay.
My parents are still there.
All right.
So that kind of steered me to that kind of location.
Yes.
For this one.
Now, if you didn't have somebody being able to look at it, would you still do it because the numbers were so good?
Within an hour drive, yeah.
Within an hour drive?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I remember back in the days when Alberta was cranking, and I would just kind of write blind offers, because you have the team in place, right? And we were picking up townhouses there for, $120,000 and still getting some great rents because they were, the economy was good in Alberta and so on and so forth. But no, I think that's interesting that people, they do that and they feel comfortable with that. So let's look at a property of yours.
Sure.
So we always start with the first question. What was the return on your investment for 1 year?
It was 140%.
140%?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. In 1 year?
Yeah.
Okay, so ROI equals 140%. Is there something I don't know about this?
Well, we had a lower down payment on this one because the plan was I was actually in Kitchener at that time living at my parents' house.
Okay.
So I was planning to buy it,
Yeah.
live in it with me and my wife, but then I moved out to Toronto.
You
I
got a job change or something like
in
that.
Toronto, so we had to kind of switch the plans. Didn't want to give up that house at that time. 'Cause It
Okay.
was a nice house.
So you were able to do this with 5% down?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll look at it kind of both ways. Right now with 5% down, it's 140%. And it's interesting, you still have a day job.
Yes.
Yeah, many people, Erwin, just because we get into this game of investing, a lot of people love their day jobs, or they want to get out eventually, but maybe not right now, and we can still be an investor. So I think it's a little far-fetched for people to think that I'm going to become an investor and quit my day job. That's 20, 30, 40 properties. If you have a family of 3 or 4, that's what it's going to take to be able to quit your day job. So I just want the viewers to keep that in mind, that it's okay to have 1 or 2 properties and still enjoy your day-to-day work. What are your thoughts there?
Oh, a great story. My mother-in-law, her property near Seneca College in North York just paid off. So now it's free cash flowing like $1,700 a month.
$1,700 a month.
Like how well would anyone be doing better off with $1,700 a month?
Yeah, 20 grand a year. She's enjoying 20 grand a year, and that's just cash flow.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about if she wanted to sell it. Yeah, if ever she wanted to sell it, but she kept her day job throughout the whole process.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so 140% we made. How did we do that? What was the purchase price?
We bought it for $244,000.
$244,000 is what we bought this property for. Okay, and then the down payment on that?
About $12,000.
$12,000. So down equals $12,000. Okay, so that's what we're in for?
Yeah, plus some closing costs.
What were the closing costs?
About $3,600.
Okay, so $3,600. What's that? $15,600?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in for $15,600.
Yep.
Okay, so then what happens?
Rented it out.
You rented it out?
Yep.
Okay.
Monthly cash flow about $200 a month.
$200 a month. So the cash flow equals $2,400
Yep.
per year. Okay, then what?
And then
They're paying down your mortgage?
Paying down the mortgage about
Okay.
$5,000 a year.
So we'll just call that mortgage going down. And that equals $5,000?
Yep, approximately.
$5,000 per year, and then I'm assuming the value went up.
Yeah, the value went up. So
Okay.
the buyout price, they were on a 3-year term.
Okay, so this is a rent to own.
Rent to own, yeah.
Okay, so everything stays the same as a normal conventional type mortgage, goes up, goes down, and then now we have a fixed price in the beginning, and so that buyout price was going to be what?
$285,000.
$285,000. So then normally if they did that, we would just take $285,000 minus the $244,000. Is that what we would do, Erwin? Yeah? Now, in this particular property, did that happen? Because a lot of times they change their mind, they want to just stay out on us as a tenant. What happened in this particular property?
Well, on the last month, they actually kind of left, missed a half a payment, and they decided to leave for not too sure whatever reason. So,
oh, really?
yeah, they were ready to buy out.
Yeah.
Talked to the mortgage broker, everything was on track, but not too sure what, and then they decided to leave.
But for that 3 years, they took care of everything for you?
Yep.
You didn't have to do any maintenance, nothing?
Nothing at all.
Okay, and they were paying you a little bit of a premium rent because you were saving those as credits, I guess, towards their down payment.
Correct, yes.
So is that an example? I guess he would keep everything, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore, in the 3 years, what did it go up total?
Probably around $285,000, so about $14,000 a year.
285 minus 244 divided by 3
Yeah.
worked out to be how much?
About $14,000.
$14,000 for the year. Okay. So anything else there, or is that everything we made?
That's everything.
So that's 21,400? Is that what that works out to be?
Yeah.
I could be wrong. So 21,400. So you take that number and you divide that by the 15,600.
Yep.
And if I do that, that should spit me out this.
Approximately.
Let's see. Let's see who you brought on this show here, Erwin. So I'm going to take my profits of 21,400, and the way you want to figure that out is you divide that by what you're in for. He's in for 15,600, and of course they took care of everything because it was their home in spirit,
Yep.
if you will. And why is that number a lot higher? Is that right? So what did I say there? So you take your profit, 21,400. Divide that by the 15,600, and that should equal, you're right, yeah, 137%. So 140% right there. That's fantastic. Now, typically, we wouldn't be putting 5% down on this, though. We would be putting 20% down. Is that right, Erwin? Is that what we put these days, 20% down? So if I times 15,600 by 4, what does that work out to be? About 22,000? Roughly 23,000? No, sorry. 15,000 by 4, that's about 62, 63,000. So let's try this for a second, just for fun. So now I'm going to go 63K. So even if we put 20% down, Even if we put 20% down, so now my profit's still the same, 21,400. Actually, it would be even better because my cash flow would be higher.
Yep.
But let's just even pretend it's 21,400, and we divide that by 63,000. We're still looking at 34% annualized.
Yep.
34% annualized if I had to put down 20%. And you did nothing
Yeah.
for 3 years.
Nothing at all.
Wow. That's fantastic. Now, what happens if they did buy that? So if they did buy that, you get to keep the difference between what you bought it for and what you sell it for. So you said $285.
Yep.
So that would be a difference of about $40,000 there. There's
Yep.
no realtors.
No.
And then do you also you keep part of the mortgage pay down as well? All of it? Some of it?
Yeah, all of it belongs to the investor.
All of it belongs to the investor. So all of it belongs to you, except for that little, we adjust the credits that they
Credit
paid the
portion.
extra for.
Yep.
Okay, great. So it's whether we do this because we want to help people. We're
Yeah.
also investors.
Yep.
We've got to feed your family.
Yep.
But if we can do a win-win, that's great. But if they don't buy the property, you still win.
With the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We still win.
Yeah.
And, it's not to say that they lose. Something may happen. They may have a great job opportunity, overseas or something like that. So this is just one of your properties.
Yep.
And obviously you liked how it worked, so now you have 3.
Yeah.
And this one, what did you do with this one? Did you sell it or you've now rented it to somebody else?
This one, after they left, I rented it out for straight rental. Actually, I've kept that one for, like Erwin, for my son as an education savings plan, kind of what he taught me.
Okay, great. So you just kept this. And I think that's also prudent sometimes too for tax purposes. Right, Erwin? I mean, if we refinance money, if we pull money out of our property, do we get taxed on that money if you pull out?
Not for a refinance. No.
Not for a refinance, right? So it makes sense maybe to hold it a lot of times. I mean, I know we have lots of mutual funds that used to flip properties and do all this kind of stuff, but now they don't do that. They just kind of, buy the ugly home, fix it up, refinance, and then rent and hold.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. I think that's great, Tim, that you're doing this. What's next? You looking for more?
Yeah, in the process of actually changing the strategy a little bit, getting into some student rentals, actually.
Student rentals.
Yep.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, why student rentals? Just I guess there's more cash flow with student rentals.
Yeah, a little bit more cash flow. Again, longer term plan and strategy.
Yeah.
Close to home.
Closer to home.
Closer to home.
Yeah. So
Which home? Mississauga or
Mississauga, actually.
you do student rentals in Mississauga?
Yeah.
And so where would you do that? What area? Like close to U of T?
UT Mississauga campus.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So yeah, there's different things you can do on this, adjust it depending whether you want more cash flow, depending on where you want, hands off, because a lot of times, I'm more moved into land development because I didn't want any headaches. I shouldn't say headaches with tenants, but I just didn't want to do any necessarily work with tenants. I could still get into the property game with a lease to own and not have to do any work with the tenants because they do it. And then he had the choice. He could have sold it. Or, like he said, he could have. What he did was to rent it out to somebody else.
Yep.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on this, Erwin? In terms of what do we see the returns? We need about 20% plus closing costs, generally speaking. We can exit whenever we decide. It could be depending on a 2-year, 3-year. What's the quickest rent own you've seen where somebody says, "Hey, I can't quite buy this property right now, but I can do it in." What's been the quickest?
I've seen it 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
You've actually seen 1 year. And what's the longest you've seen in terms of it's continuing to be a rent to own as opposed to just being a tenant?
I probably can't answer that question yet because they're still going. But
Oh, they're still going. And what's that one been?
that one's going to year 5.
And is that one of your personal ones?
One of my clients, yes.
One of your clients?
Yeah.
So year 5, and they still have the option to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
They refused to pay their phone bill out of principal. They wouldn't pay off a bad debt.
Yeah.
So they can't get a mortgage.
So they can't get a mortgage.
$400 bad debt.
Wow. So they're still continuing to do it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Tim, it's great to hear your story. It's inspiring.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work and look forward to hearing some great things that you're doing here.
Thanks, Rob.
Yes. You're watching The Everyday Investor. We're talking about Tim, how he's making some great money with rent-to-own strategies. Don't go anywhere. Charles is coming on up to teach us how he has made money with rent-to-own ventures as well. The Everyday Investor continues in a moment. Thanks for watching. Did you know rent-to-own can increase your cash flow, reduce your operating costs, and save on realtor commissions? Rent-to-own tenants take care of the property as if it was their own, so you don't need a property manager. And when you sell to the tenant, you don't need a realtor. Hey, it's Rav. You're watching The Everyday Investor. We're talking about how to make money with rent-to-own strategies. We're talking to my good friend Erwin Szeto, and Charles Waugh is on the show with us as well. Charles, great to have you here, my friend.
Thank you very much.
So we were just, talking to Tim, and most people, they enjoy their day job, and they realize that probably RSPs is just not going to cut it. It's very hard to save your way to wealth.
Right.
You've got to invest. But you kind of had an unfortunate turn of events, or a fortunate turn of events. I'm sure right now you would tell me it was very fortunate.
Exactly.
But you lost your job and then had to figure out what to do, and all of a sudden now you're entrepreneur, investor, that type of thing. So talk to us a little bit about that. What happened, and how did you get to where you are right now?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago, I was a computer engineer, and then the office suddenly they shut down, political reasons.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh my God, we're going crazy."
Computer engineer here in Ontario.
Here in Burlington, Ontario.
Burlington,
that's
okay.
correct.
Yep.
And headquartered in California.
Okay.
And again, political reasons, they closed down the office. I was like, "Oh my God, what to do?" And then I took some time to think about what I really wanted to do. My parents had invested in real estate on the side over the years.
Yeah.
So it was kind of natural progression for me to go into that space.
Yeah.
And at the time, obviously, it was worrisome, no job, what to do, kind of scary to move forward doing your own thing. But looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened.
Of course.
Yeah.
And, computer engineer, I'm sure you're employable. So what made you not want to go get another job and then just kind of, take this kind of chance?
My parents were both entrepreneurs, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur growing up.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dream of mine. I didn't think I'd be doing it this early on. I thought I'd be building up some capital, get into transition later on.
Yeah.
This was the perfect opportunity. I don't have a wife or kids or even.
And are you living at home as well?
I am. So saving money.
Okay, great.
And my mom and my dad are two completely different though. My mom definitely wanted me to get a job because, of course, like you said, computer engineer is very employable.
Yeah.
And my dad kind of decided do what you want, right?
Yeah.
Follow your dream.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've done.
And how old are you?
I'm 29, turning 30 this year.
Congratulations. Well, let's look at, because right now you've acquired, you're getting into some land development. You bought some raw land as well, which is very interesting. And then with this lease to owns, obviously you're trying to generate some cash flow.
Correct.
You have one, you have two. How many?
We have 3 rent-owns.
3 rent-owns?
3 straight rentals as well.
Okay, so you have 6 properties altogether.
Yes.
3 the conventional, buy and rent out, and 3 rent-owns.
Exactly.
So we're going to look at, you're going to go through the numbers with 1 rent-own for us?
Yep.
Okay, so talk us through it. Teach me how to, teach the viewers at home how you do this, as you kind of give me the numbers, why do you like it, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So what's the return on investment in this one property?
So the return investment on this particular property was 45%.
45%?
Annual return. that is.
Annualized.
Yes.
45%?
That's correct.
Wow, so you put $1 out there and you're making 45 cents on your dollar.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I mean, you're doubling your money basically every 2 years on that.
Exactly.
Right? So the ROI, return on investment, equals 45%, and you're going to teach us how you got that. So what happened?
Sounds good. So we bought this property for $350,000.
For $350,000, that's how much the purchase price was?
That's correct.
Okay, and who helped you with this? I mean, obviously Erwin's standing there. Erwin, this is what you do. You help people to find these types of properties as well, to be able to, put together. I mean, we don't know where we're going to find somebody who wants to buy a property but can't afford it now but wants to do it later. How does that all kind of work?
So we look at economic fundamentals. We're investors, right? So we look at things like, where do people want to live?
Yeah.
Where our population is increasing. We're looking for transportation improvements. Like, for example, Hamilton's getting a light rail transit system.
Yeah.
Kind of like streetcar in Toronto.
Yeah.
So people generally want to live close to those things.
Yeah.
So we know that demand's going to be there for people wanting to move in or rent. And also, it's land. There's only so much supply.
So no, but yeah, absolutely. But I'm watching this show, and I'm watching Tim, Charles making 45% a year, doing no work, right? How do we get this all set up? Is it mrhamilton.ca? We can start there and say, hey, listen, I was watching the show. I also want to buy a property. Can you help me find people who want tenants that want to own? I mean, there's certain ads you put out there, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's really what I'm getting at. Is that how it happens?
Yeah, people come to our website. We host networking meetings once a month where people like Charles and Tim are there, and we're all there to share.
Yeah.
Because we love to educate people on what it is we do and how to be successful.
Yeah.
Because success breeds success.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing. So we bought this property for $350,000.
Yes.
Typically, we put 20% down. Is that what you did there?
That's what we did here.
Okay, so your down payment
70.
is $70K.
Yes.
All right, and then what?
Plus, we have about $5K in closing costs,
Okay,
legal and miscellaneous
Yeah.
expenses.
$5K to close.
And then for this particular property, we actually renovated it.
Okay,
So we put in $30,000 in renovations.
okay, so plus $30K in renos.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's
Well,
you-
when we found this property, kind of on what Erwin was talking about,
Yeah.
this is right by the highway, right by 403,
yeah.
and then right, like literally 1 minute away from the GO train station.
Wow.
So the location is
The
fantastic.
location is fantastic, and you're in for $105,000.
In it for $105,000.
Okay.
Now, we found a rent-to-own tenant who absolutely loved it. They actually signed the agreements before even seeing the renos. They came in to see the house. The kitchen was out.
Yeah.
It was demolished. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
But they absolutely loved the location, and they saw our plans, what we planned on doing,
Yeah.
and they signed right on the spot.
So are they still there, or is this one exited?
They're still there.
They're still there
They were
right
there
now.
for a year,
Yeah.
and they put down $30,000 as an initial option deposit.
Wow. They put down $30,000 that you can enjoy right now.
Correct.
Okay. So teach me how. You're in for 105 right now. Teach me
So
the
then-
numbers.
So then they gave us the $30,000 as the initial option.
Okay.
So then we're really in it for $75,000.
$75,000. Okay. So because you got an initial option of how much?
Of 30,000,
35,000.
30,000.
30,000. So
We
then
can take that
therefore
directly
we
off
can take
the
that
cost.
off in there because you got that right away.
Right away.
They're saying, hey, this is how serious we are that we want to buy this property. So we are going to give you 30K, and you can do whatever you want with that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. I could
So
buy food with it, do
That's
whatever.
right. But at the end, when we're finished, we're going to take that off in terms of
It gets adjusted
it
at
gets
the end.
adjusted at the end. But
Purchase
this
price.
is yours right now, and money today is better than money tomorrow.
Exactly.
Okay, so you now are in the deal for $75,000.
Yep.
Okay, what's next? Get me to the 45% a
So
year.
another thing that we earn money from is from cash flow.
Cash flow.
And so the cash flow for this particular property is $500 a month or $6,000 a year.
So you're making $6,000 a year just on cash flow. And that means what they're paying you after you've paid all expenses, mortgage, taxes, insurance, you're left with $500 a year, or in other words, $5,000 a month,
yeah.
or in other words, $6K a year.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's your cash flow.
Yep.
Okay, then
And
what?
then we have mortgage paid down.
Okay, so
So
then
every
the
month
mortgage.
that the tenants pay down the mortgage, it gets paid down each month.
Yeah.
And that's roughly $7,000 a year.
$7,000 a year is how much this is being paid down. Okay.
Almost 10%.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
okay.
a lot.
Yeah, and then what?
And then we have the annual appreciation.
10% mortgage pay down because he's only in for 75,000. It's almost okay, and then it goes up.
Exactly. And now then we also have the passive appreciation.
Okay.
Just from the property appreciating in value.
Yeah.
And that's roughly $21,000 a year.
21,000. So what did you use on there? About 7%, 6%?
You know what? It's from 350. You added the 3K.
Oh, we added the
30K in
30K, got
rentals,
it.
So it's about 30/80.
Yeah,
It's really around 5% a year.
about 5% a
And
year.
remember, we're trying to make it a win-win with our tenant buyers.
That's right. That's right.
So even though the market's going up 6 to 10%,
Yeah.
we only apply a 5% appreciation
Okay.
to get the buyout
So
price.
5% is going up, and that works out to what?
Roughly 21,000 a year.
21,000. Okay, 21K for the year. Okay, is that it?
Yep, that's right.
That's very good. So we're looking at 29, 35?
35, yes.
35,000. So in your first year, you made 35K. We divide it by 75K, and that should get you to 45%.
Exactly.
Right? So again, you always want to take your profits, divide it for the amount that you're in for, move the decimal over a couple places, and that's how you figure out the most important question with any type of investment: what is my ROI? So $35,000, divide that by $75,000 because that's what you're in for, and that equals 47%, 46.66. So whatever the
bonus.
case is. So bonus. So you're making over 45% a year on your money.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And this is just year one. And be honest, have you had to do any repairs, maintenance, anything like that?
No, they've been wonderful. They take care of any minor repairs. Haven't had any issues at all.
Wow.
Which is one of the main reasons I love rent-to-owns.
Yeah. Is there a way? I mean, there's ways to invest with RSPs, with RESPs, all that kind of thing. But even regardless of that, you know, Erwin, Charles is putting in $75,000 to make 45% on his money. You know, and that's just going to happen year after year. And if they don't buy it, then he enjoys all of it, and this goes up tremendously. If they do, well, his tenants, they've got their home that they want to be in.
Yeah.
You've made some money. This is a 3-year?
It's a 3-year.
This is a 3-year.
All of ours are 3 years. It's just, that's the way it typically is.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking for the like a good tenant,
Yeah.
you want to make sure they have solid income.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that they have a good chance of being able to buy out.
Yeah.
So you typically, it's 3 years.
And that's a great point. So do we have some sort of, you know, do we put them in touch with people that can help them, whether it's with credit, whether it's
Exactly.
debt consolidation, all these kinds of things? We're really trying to help them. I mean, the whole goal is to help them buy the property.
Exactly.
Obviously, right? It just so happens, for whatever reason, if they don't,
Yeah.
you still don't lose.
We want to do our best to put them in the best position.
Yeah.
And we put them in touch with a credit counselor
Yeah.
who will guide them through the 3-year term.
Yeah.
Follow up with them every 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And to make sure they're on track so that they could qualify for their own financing 3 years down the line.
Okay.
And
Great.
often these credit counselors are mortgage agents or mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
So they have a vested interest in trying to get them to the level so they can buy
That's a
house,
great point.
get a mortgage.
So these guys are mortgage, you know, in the mortgage world. Obviously, they get to eat if they provide a mortgage for someone. So, you know, sometimes they work with them for a period of a year or whatever the case is. If someone didn't, what'd you say, they didn't pay their what? Phone bill?
Yeah.
You know, didn't pay their phone bill.
Wouldn't pay their cell phone bill.
Or whatever the case
of
may be.
principle.
So, Charles, what's next for you then? What's what you're continuing to
What's
do?
next is we'd like to find more joint venture partners
Yeah,
to help finance more rent-to-own deals.
yeah.
Uh,
When you say joint venture partners, you mean you will do all this. So let's say Rav wants to enjoy, but I say, hey, I'm not greedy.
Yeah.
I want, you know, I want 20% or I want 22.5%.
Right.
You know, I would give you the $75,000. You'll take care of everything.
That's correct.
Because you take care of everything, we split that, and I'm making over 20%.
Exactly.
Is that what you mean?
That's
so
exactly
you're
what we do.
you also have other investors, and you guys are doing more and more. That's the plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the reason why I want to find more joint venture partners is because a lot of our funds is earmarked for our land development projects.
Yeah.
So I'm busy focusing on the land development projects.
Yeah.
This is kind of on the side.
Yeah.
And then you know, more joint venture partners, the more deals we can get
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all split it, enjoy the returns together, right?
Of course,
50-50.
of course. I mean,
Why
you know,
not?
listen, we're making in a GIC. I don't know if you're making a percent, and RSPs. You know, if anybody's made money, it's because they've made it back for the last
Yeah.
6-7 years that we've lost. I mean, we're enjoying some great returns, and again, it's not. It's quite simple if you know what you're doing.
Yes.
Slow, easy, boring, that kind of thing. You know. Well, listen. Congratulations, Charles.
Thank you very much.
And look forward to hearing from more things that you're doing.
For sure.
Yes. The Everyday Investor will continue in a moment. We just learned from Charles how he's making money investing in real estate. When we come back, we're going to just hear closing thoughts around this whole concept of rent-to-owns from my good friend, Erwin Szeto. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions pertaining to this show, if there's a topic that you would like covered, please visit www.rogerstv.com. Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to the Everyday Investor. We've had an incredible time here talking to my good friend Erwin Szeto on how we can make money investing in rent-to-owns. Tim, Charles, doing a phenomenal job, doubling their money every, 2-3 years kind of thing with very little work, if any. Erwin, it's fascinating. You know, I've done rent-to-owns back in the past, and there's no really one standard way to do it. You can be as creative as you want, but I think the most important thing is that it's a win-win. It's a win for the investor, and it's a win for the tenant who wants to become a homeowner.
Yes.
You know, what are your kind of parting words here that you would share with the people watching the show in terms of when it comes to investing in real estate, when it comes to investing in rent-to-owns? What would you say?
I'd say some of my ideas would be start with talking to people who have done what you want what it is that you want. So for example, like Tim and Charles, I've helped them along the way to become rent-to-own investors. They come to me with their questions like, I have this tenant, what do you think about their application? So I would advise people to get educated, learn the system, stick with it, become an expert in it, and keep doing it.
No, I think it's great, and I know you have networking groups. I know you have some online presence, all that. People just simply go to mrhamilton.ca, mrhamilton.ca to get some more information, in kind of everything investing, and I think that's very cool that you're doing it. Thanks for being on the show, and come back again sometime. And of course, what's that? The Tiger Cats?
Yeah, it's Tiger Cats.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats. You're a great fan of the CFL. Well, listen, say hi to your wife and kiddies, and keep up the great work. It's a great inspiration, especially all your charitable work that you've been doing. Thanks again for being on the show. On behalf of Rogers TV and myself, Rav Toor, we'll see you next week, same place, same time. Honey, I love you. I'll be home soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.